Okay. Um, for one, there's nothing to substantiate the fact that they made three times the profit. And what I loved about this article is the fact is that what it did was it combined all of the winners that Warner Brothers has basically made within this past year, within this year. Okay, so that's with Sinners, Minecraft, Weapons, Final Destination, Bloodlines, and F1. Right. So it's already trying to combine it with the winners and saying that it already saw profit. For one thing, Black Adam made $393 million. So it was a basic flop, right? So, but it cost $195 million for it to be made with $100 million of the marketing. Yet it needed $600 million to break even. And Superman cost $225 million to make, and I think it was like what, 100 to $200 million in the marketing. So why, again, like I previously stated in my other video, why does a movie that costs less need to make more, and why does a movie that costs more need to make less? Make that make sense to me. See, it was $500 million, and now you're trying to equate that by pretending that the best way to break even is for it to make $500 million, knowing that it only makes $614 million so far, where it barely crossed over to make $600 million. It only has to stay at 650. Let's say that 650 was the number you're going. You hadn't even reached 650. There's probably the unlikelihood that it will reach $650 million. But that's not even the real goal that you're supposed to hit. The real goal is from $850 million to $900 million. That's the real number you have to beat. But you keep moving the goalposts. Why is it that James Gunn's Superman, why is it that his universe, his movie, has to. Why do they keep moving the goalposts? Why is it that Black Adam fails under the same goalposts, under the same metric, but James Gunn gets it passed and they keep moving the goalposts along? Why is that? Is it because you guys have set the bar so low you can't meet it? And now everything has to be a failure? Everything that fails underneath the estimate now all of a sudden is a success? Is that supposed to make sense? Why is it that Black Adam has to play by the same rules you guys keep trying to break? But this just goes to show the level of desperation as to why you guys have to lie, because there's nothing that shows that where this money is coming from, how you guys came up with $125 million that estimates it to be why it results in profit. It can't be the movie because the movie's barely making even. And it can't be the merchandise because the fact is nobody's buying the toys. The stuff is not coming off the shelf. I think if you go to McFarlane's Toys, most of the stuff is discounted. It's still, nobody's buying it. Nobody liked this movie to show up for it, to even buy merchandise for it. And I think the physical and digital copies have been reduced 3 or 4 times. Warner Brothers, basically, Warner Brothers declined the comment. So they can't even substantiate the claim to show, because this article comes out not too long after James Gunn already announced have to make it look like they're coming another supposed win, which is likely to be a disappointment. Let me say this. These lies add up. And the very fact that you have to lie to build a foundation as to how your audience is going to be able to show up for you, this imaginary audience that people didn't like, that was not well received for the Superman movie that you just came out with. On top of that, Peacemaker is not being well received either. And you expect them to show up for you for the 2 films you got coming out next year, as well as the series that has yet to come out. This does not look good. Not at all. On top of that, you expect people to come out to see a not direct sequel to a hit that's not really a hit, because hits usually sequelize. And you didn't sequelize Superman 2. You basically sidelined Superman for something else. Because, again, Superman was never a safe bet. That's why you sit up and overloaded it with other characters. You didn't have faith in it. That's why you're overloading it with the characters again. But in 2027, with Supergirl, Lobo, and Lex Luthor as well. And let's go ahead and throw Peacemaker in there while at it. Because it's going to be overloaded with characters, because because you can't write towards the point, you can't write a solo film. So this $125 million is just something made up. And the whole point of this is, when you come up with this number, it's still banked on people showing up to substantiate that you had a hit or you had something that people like that they wanted to show up for. So what's the point of lying unless you know people aren't going to go see it? As I stated in my other video before, I think the financials are coming up, and now they have to substantiate why James Gunn should keep his job, why David Zaslav should keep their job, because you're losing more money. And even if we were to go by the $225 million price ticket for the budget, which I don't go by, I go by the $363 million price ticket that I actually believe is how much the movie really costs. Is going to put you bigger, and it's going to keep you in a deeper hole than you already in. This movie cost you guys money. It's going to continue to cost you more money. And now you guys are trying to pretend that the momentum that's not even there is supposed to substantiate why you're supposed to have a not so sequel movie coming out in 2027. I just don't understand the level of trying to tell this lie, because it's all people have to show up for this to be substantiated. This is all banking on people showing up. And I don't think that you don't have enough fans or enough people or you have enough people to come up that's going to show up for you to make this a success. There's not enough gun fans to do that. On top of that, everybody's going to pick this movie apart. So the real numbers, I'm just going to wait till next year, because that's when the real numbers are going to come into play. Because we already know where the real numbers are with Superman, but when we have two characters that are not well known and they're probably going to not be perceived as well, you're going to bank on the domestic and the global box office. So there is no more of this domestic anymore that's going to play out. So, and on top of that, with a series, so the failure will be in full effect. I don't think any of the series or the movies are going to do well at all. I just don't. The very fact they have to come out here and lie to the public to do that, to pretend that they're coming off of win, to be able to say they're not going to wait on this momentum to go ahead and move forward for a 2027 date, just goes to show that Warner Brothers in DC and DC Studios is scrambling. And I think the fact is that James Gunn is trying to justify him keeping his job, because I think his contract ends next year, and the whole point of Variety going towards the point of telling this lie that even Warner Brothers hadn't even commented to say where this $125 million comes from, just goes to show how desperate they are to greenlight projects, and to show that there is no real momentum for it, to the point that you have to lie for it. Okay. Again, I'm just gonna wait till next year, because with everything that's going on, like I said before, I saw it on Twitter, there is no momentum for this Man of Tomorrow movie that's coming out in 2027, and there's no real momentum for the Supergirl movie or the Clayface movie. This whole thing about let's just keep moving and see what happens, there's no interest in this universe. I hate to say it, I predict dark times ahead for DC Studios. This could have been avoided, but they decided that they wanted to reboot the whole universe and reboot the whole audience that think that we'll forget, just so they can justify their jobs and their salaries. And at this point, I don't see anything on the slate, anything coming up that shows why I should have any kind of investment. And to be honest with you, I think the rest of the audience has also came up with the exact same verdict. Okay, that's all I got so far. I'll try to stay on top of this and try to provide you with more updates. But until the next video, peace.